I think the next president is really going to have to do more than just replace the Attorney General and the FBI director, but really turn these entities inside out and address the cultural problem that has existed ever since Eric Holder said that he was Barack Obama's wingman and began to embed partisans throughout the FBI and the Department of Justice. It's a cultural problem. It's not a one-off issue. We're seeing it over and over again where there is a disparity of treatment in within the Department of Justice.
Joining me now, the Federalist D.C. columnist Eddie Scarry. Eddie, your reaction to this?
Well, I mean, it's his word against at least 3 others within the IRS. The New York Times has confirmed the allegations that were made by these 2 high-ranking IRS officials, or as I think Democrats like to call them, longtime civil servants. So it's going to be a hard case for him to push back on 3 different people.
Exactly. Well, you know, you have a new column, an op-ed in the New York Post. You make the case that Hunter Biden's plea deal needs to be put on hold while Merrick Garland is investigated. Tell me about this.
Right, because the whole thing is Hunter Biden is kind of the starting point, but this isn't really about Hunter Biden so much as it is about a culture of rot within the Justice Department, within the Washington bureaucracy, the IRS, agents deciding that they're not going to pursue certain lines of investigation because it would benefit their opponents. That's what we're looking at here. And so while we're talking about these allegations, these very serious allegations that these officials are making, those should be completely seen through before we get to this little sweet plea deal that Hunter Biden worked out, where he gets no jail time, barely has to say he did anything wrong, so much as a slap on the wrist. That's all it is. So before we even get to that point, the judge should wait until there's a further investigation.
Well, you know, President Biden is getting slammed over this New York Times report. This is what it says. In strategy meetings in recent years, aides have been told that the Bidens have 6, not 7 grandchildren. The Bidens admitting Hunter's estranged 4-year-old daughter. Eddie, it's so sad. This is a 4-year-old little girl. She is an innocent little girl. DNA testing has proven that she's Hunter's child, and still this is the messaging coming out of the White House. I mean, this is to me, it seems incredibly unfair, the treatment. And yet President Biden and the White House are just letting his son get away with it, and they're encouraging it.
Oh, right, and excusing it. It is really sad, actually, for this little girl. So much so that Hunter Biden was in court over, he didn't want his daughter to have his last name. That was part of the dispute between him and the mother of his child. And then, yes, we see the report in the New York Times, I believe it just came out yesterday, that said that White House aides are being coached to say that the president only has, 6 grandchildren instead of 7, because they want to fully deny that this kid exists, make her go away. It is very, very sad and embarrassing for this president.
Yeah, no, and again, I just feel so much for that little girl to grow up like this. Can't use the name Biden. Let's move on to the 2024 election. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis being criticized by some Republicans for a campaign video which takes aim at former President Trump's previous support for the LGBT community. Many call this video homophobic. I want to show our viewers just a short clip of the ad, and then I want to get your reaction on the other side.
I will do everything in my power to protect our LGBTQ citizens.
Eddie, what's your reaction to this ad? Many are saying it's just somewhat just strange and confusing, if nothing else.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I say that as someone who's a really big fan of Ron DeSantis. I'd like to see his campaign do very well, and yet I don't think this was it. And I think the biggest issue with it, honestly, was that it was obviously an attack on President Trump, who was his primary opponent. I understand that. But it wasn't for any particular policy issue. It was about the president back in 2016 saying he wanted LGBT support. He wanted to bring those people into the fold. He liked having them within the Republican Party. He was applauded on stage at the RNC in 2016, the Republican convention, for taking those positions. And yet Ron DeSantis is here basically just saying, I'm not the kind of person who would say those things, and yeah, there's no policy involved. Yeah, I think it really did fall flat and was just a little bit weird with all the imagery, with all the shirtless men. I found that a little odd.
And then the music as well. I want to bring in Joe Pinion. He's on set with me. And Joe, the other thing is that critics of DeSantis are saying it makes him look homophobic. Why would you want to put that message out there ahead of the election, especially the polls are not in your favor?
It's bizarre because if you're really breaking it down, all Republicans are mostly upset about the fact that we have children being exposed to behavior and to material that we do not think is age appropriate. But I think most Republicans are also united in the fact that people should be able to live their life on their own terms. And so it's this kind of a bizarre extension of this own the Twitter cycle approach to winning the presidency by the DeSantis campaign that seems detached from the reality impacting most Americans who are concerned about the economy. They're concerned about the fact that we are effectively heading towards a recession, whether the people want to believe it or not. They're concerned about the fact that we've got 500,000 Americans who are at least 60 days behind on car payments. We need substantive, real plans for the person that's going to save us from this America Last policy being put forth by Weekend at Bernie's, a.k.a. Joe Biden.
Well, you know, Eddie, last point to you. The big question here, does Ron DeSantis need a new comms team?
I think there is something to that. Every single thing I see him doing, it seems contrary to what we knew about him and what we loved about him. He was someone who had a mastery of material. He could confront the press, own the press. He would get in these arguments with them, win the argument. And now what is he doing? He's completely shrunk away. Now he's just on Twitter. I think winning the Twitter news cycle was a really good way of putting it. And that's not going to work in the primary. He needs to get out there and actually have a riskier strategy than what he has, because right now there's no risk and it's not working.
Eddie Scarry, it's always great to see you. Thank you for being here.